Now, if global warming is all about the science, why do global warming activists keep getting children to push their wild claims? And why did, in my opinion, a judge today fall for it? Scary times. 8 children, backed by an activist nun, global warming campaigners and a lawyer, went to the federal court to try and stop the new Vickery coal mine, a new coal mine there in New South Wales. The children claim that the Federal Environment Minister had a duty of care to them and should stop this mine from creating all these global warming gases they reckon wrongly threaten their lives, the lives of all children. Well, the judge, a former Labor candidate, did not grant their injunction against the mine. Good news there, but he did fall for their alarmism. He said, yes, indeed, the minister did have a duty of care in principle, even if she didn't quite breach it this time, and said that the evidence demonstrates that by reason of the extension's projects, this is the Vickery mine, its effect on increased CO2 in the Earth's atmosphere and the consequential increase in the global surface temperatures, each of the children is exposed to a risk of death or other personal injury. Justice Mordy Bromberg said that. When, in fact, the difference, as the chief scientist, previous one has said, of Australia, all its emissions to the world's climate is virtually none. And if we turned it off, it means that they have almost little effect. And there's in fact been little warming, little global warming. Temperatures right now are below the average of the past 30 years. And life expectancy is meanwhile going up, not down. Grain crops up, not down. And deaths by natural disasters, down, not up. Well, joining me is Mark Latham, former federal Labor leader, now One Nation leader in the New South Wales Parliament. Mark Latham, this decision, your response?
Well, Andrew, wouldn't you think the judge might point out the duty of care government has to stop youth unemployment, to provide jobs
Correct.
in the mining sector, and the mining sector supports manufacturing and indeed the entire Australian economy one way or another, all these materials and buildings and fit outs in the retail sector, it sort of just doesn't drop from the sky. So I think governments have a big duty of care to stop youth unemployment, and the young people might think about that. The judge said he's worried about their health. Well, I can tell you long-term unemployment and welfare dependency is not real fun and it's not very healthy. So that balances out the wokeness of the judge's ruling, but also he might have also followed the science. We're told follow the science, follow the science. In a stunning confession, really, in his recent quarterly essay, the former chief scientist and someone who still advises the federal government on renewable energy, Alan Finkel, said that the abolition of Australia's 1.3% of global carbon emissions would have zero impact, nothing, zilch impact on global climate and global temperatures. So what's the point? Whatever the duty of care is in Australia, if the chief scientist, the outgoing chief scientist, says that getting rid of our 1.3% of global carbon emissions has no impact on the world's climate, and really what we're doing is importing solar panels and windmills made by slave labour in China, maybe the judge could have thought about that duty of care to actually look at the science, face the reality. Australia makes no difference, and what we're doing is adding to labour injustices in a country like China. So, you know, there's a counterbalancing argument to Mordy Bromberg there, and I'm afraid he looked at just a slither of the responsibilities of government and no more.
Yeah, but this is what comes when so many politicians, as you know, are too scared to make the counter-argument in cases like this, and now it's embedded in a judgment. This alarmism, this rank alarmism that really frightens me.